Hello, my name is Michaela Williams Johnson, and for my biology final, I chose the topic of sickle cell anemia. In this presentation, I will be exploring sickle cell anemia, a disease that has affected more than 100,000 people in the U.S. alone and over 8 million people worldwide, according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. Sickle cell anemia disproportionately impacts people of African ancestry due to the evolution of genetic traits to protect against malaria. Sickle cell anemia is commonly identified in people who have ancestry in global hotspots experiencing malaria, since sickle cells serve as a protective barrier against malaria. So what is sickle cell anemia? Sickle cell anemia is a hereditary blood disorder that is characterized by red blood cells being a sickled or crescent shape rather than the normal biconcave disc shape. The cause of sickle cell anemia lies in a genetic mutation affecting hemoglobin, which is the protein found in red blood cells that is responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. More specifically, the cause of sickle cell anemia is due to a single base pair point mutation in the beta globin on chromosome 11, producing abnormal hemoglobin called sickle hemoglobin or HbS. The mutation that is responsible for sickle cell anemia involves a singular nucleotide change in the beta globin gene, where thymine replaces adenine. This change results in the substitution of valine, which is hydrophobic, for glutamic acid, which is hydrophilic, both of which are amino acids at the sixth position of the beta globin chain. This seemingly small altercation significantly impacts hemoglobin's properties, functions, and structures, causing it to come together under conditions like low oxygen levels or dehydration. When hemoglobin S polymerizes, it distorts red blood cells into a rigid crescent or sickle shape. These malformed cells are fragile and break down easily, as sickle cells only live for 10 to 20 days, whereas normal cells live for about 120 days, leading to hemolysis, the destruction of red blood cells. Additionally, their stiffness prevents smooth passage through blood vessels, causing blockages, reduced blood flow called vasoocclusion, tissue oxygen deprivation called ischemia, and damage to the organs and tissues over time. This disease follows the autosomal recessive inheritance pattern, meaning that a person must inherit two copies of the mutated HBB gene to have sickle cell. Symptoms that are associated with the disease, which vary among severity and presentation in people affected by the disease. One of the most common symptoms of sickle cell anemia are pain crises, also known as vasoocclusive crises. These are recurrent episodes of pain, primarily in the chest, joints, abdomen, and bones, caused by a lack of blood flow due to the sickled cells causing blockages of blood vessels. Another symptom of the disease are infections, especially bacterial infections, including pneumonia and urinary tract infections due to compromised immune function. Acute chest syndrome is a severe and life-threatening symptom of sickle cell, characterized by coughing, difficulty breathing, chest pain, and fever, often caused by an infection, pulmonary infection, or fat embolism. Other symptoms of the disease include stroke, especially ischemic stroke, due to sickle cells obstructing blood vessels in the brain, and jaundice, due to red blood cells dying faster than the liver can filter them out, causing a substance that is released when red blood cells die to build up and cause the characteristic yellow color. Lastly, those suffering with sickle cell disease present with complaints of fatigue and weakness. Due to the fragility and distorted sickle cell and a decrease in the proliferation of the life cycle of red blood cells, there is a persistent deficit in viable red blood cells, also known as anemia. Unfortunately, there is no cure for sickle cell anemia. The treatment of this disease focuses on relieving symptoms, avoiding complications, and enhancing the quality of life for individuals living with this condition, using multiple approaches to manage the aspects of this condition. Mine is a preferred pharmaceutical therapeutic treatment for sickle cell, as it promotes the production of hemoglobin F in red blood cells. These cells have a higher oxygen affinity and do not partake in the sickling process. Hydroxychloroquine works by reducing the number of white blood cells in the blood. It also makes blood cells of blood vessels less sticky by decreasing certain molecules on their surfaces called adhesion molecules. This helps blood flow more smoothly and reduces blockages in the small blood vessels, which are the cause of painful sickle cell crises. They reduce the quantity of deformed sickled red blood cells and thus the effects of sickle cell. Other treatments of sickle cell include stem cell transplantation, opioid pain management, transfusion therapy, and IV hydration. New treatments are being unearthed to better manage sickle cell. For example, in the study of the treatment of sickle cell disease by increasing oxygen affinity of hemoglobin, researchers Henrietta L. studied the impact of oxygen therapy in patients with sickle cell. The study found that oxygen therapy is positively correlated with improved disease management. Biochemical improvements were identified as increased oxygenated decrease the quantity of deoxygenated sickle hemoglobin cells, reduce the severity of hemoglobin deformity, and reduce sickling of the cells. There is still So much to learn.